Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore.
Welcome, brethren, to today's New Wine podcast. Today I'll be taking my reading from the 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. The Passion Translation of the scripture says, "We are like common clay jars that carry this glorious treasure within, so that the extraordinary overflow of power will be seen as God's, not us." I'm speaking today on the topic greatness in weakness. Most of the time, life makes us to focus on our weaknesses more than we focus on our strength. But the critical study of the scripture shows that, and in fact outside of the scripture shows that, every great man has his issues. Every great man has his weakness or weaknesses. The challenge therefore is how to manage your strength to be able to overcome your weakness. We are God's treasure put in an hidden vessel. The reason therefore is that when the power begins to manifest, the power will not be seen as us, but God's. What that suggests therefore is that God keeps working on us to bring out the best out of us, so that in bringing the best out of us, the glory might return to Him. Let's quickly do a rundown of a few great men in the Bible. Take Noah, for example. The Bible said he found grace in the sight of God, built an ark that took care of his family and the entire generations of animals on this planet Earth. Bible said when he came out of that ark, what did he do? Take another person, Lot. Lot was Abraham's nephew, a friend of God. He was so blessed and rich, but he pitched his tent towards Sodom. When he was tempted, what did he do? He told the people of Sodom to even sleep with his own daughters. Greatness in weakness. How about Abraham, God's friend? The only person in the Bible that is called God's friend. He slept with his house help, called Hagar. Out of that extramarital relationship, he had an Ishmael. But yet, God still had a covenant with him, gave him an Isaac, and out of the seed that came from him, the entire generations of the earth are blessed. Time will fail me to mention a man like David. David, who slept with the wife of his most loyal soldier, but yet he was still the man after God's own heart. God established his covenant with David, and they promised to give him an eternal dynasty that nobody can take away from him. Greatness in weakness. How about Solomon, David's successor? He had wives from all over the world. 700 wives, 300 concubines. I usually tell people he had 1,000 wives, because the concubines were also wives, except that they had no rooms in his compound. 1,000 of them all. But yet, the Bible still called him the beloved of God, Jedediah. Outside of Jesus, there is nobody that I know in the scripture that became great that did not manifest some level of weakness. Of Elijah, the Bible said, for Elijah was a man like us, a man of like passion, a man of like temptations, a man of like weaknesses, a man of like challenges, a man of like frustrations, a man of like deficiencies like us. But he prayed and there was no rain. Therefore, everyone on earth has his weaknesses and has his strength. I admonish you today, work on your strength, and then your weaknesses will not have strength over you. Elijah was a man like us. David was a man like us. Abraham was a man like us. Thank you.